The teacher may give you a choice, but generally speaking, if you're in IT or you're in biology or psychology, you're going to be using one style manual. And in this case, they use this sort of citation. Although other ways of domestication of chickens, some pigs, llamas, and water buffalo, among others, took place in China and the Americas, and this information came from this resource. Okay? Notice there are no quotes here. There are no quotes, so this writer is paraphrasing. Most of the Western barnyard animals and the cat were domesticated between 12,000 and 8,000 years ago in a region of the Middle East known as the Fertile Crescent. This comes from these resources, 7 through 10. And at the end of the paper, you'll find those resources listed numerically. And are exclusively the product of a sedentary, agricultural, civilized life. This comes from 7, 9, and 11, these resources, okay? They may have to repeat it. But this is one way of integrating the information you're taking from other resources into your writing. Any questions about this? We got it? Okay. Here's another way of doing it you may be more familiar with. Thoreau argues that, and you have here the direct quotation, that shams and delusions are esteemed, blah, 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 blah. Then you have the quotation. Here's called in-text parenthetical quotations, and it's followed by a period. So you would put the name of the author, the last name of the author, followed by the page, or in the case of APA, followed by the year of publication. Okay. But these are things that you're going to need to learn if you're using MLA or APA or any other kind of in-text citation that requires these parentheses. Here's another way of doing it in which we're quoting an entire sentence. Blah, 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 when he says, and then the entire sentence is quoted, and you would do the same thing here. Last name of the author, year of publication, and page, or just a page number if you're in MLA. Okay? Are you familiar with this? Everybody kind of familiar with this? This is probably the most common kind you're going to be doing, unless you're in the sciences, technical sciences. All right. Okay, when do you quote and when do you not quote? It says, although it's proper to use text with quotation marks and citations, it should be a minor part of your writing. In a lot of cases, what we run into is that 50% of what you have on the page is quoted from someone else. That's not good. That's not good writing. It's kind of like an easy way out, but a lot of your professors will say, this is not good. You quote about no more than 10% of your paper should be quotation. The rest of it should be your own words, which means paraphrase for the most part. You're going to have a lot of your own ideas in here. We want you to think out of the box and do some creative thinking. But when you're talking about what other people have written, you want to paraphrase as often as possible. Okay? So when do you know when to quote? Well, when the origin is memorable or vivid, and you can't rewrite it to make it sound any better than what the author has done. You try to paraphrase it, but somehow or another it just doesn't work. Then you might quote. When the exact words of an authority would lend support to your own ideas. So you could paraphrase it, but you really want to use the exact words of the particular person you're referring to, or the particular work you're referring to, because it's well known and respected, and it has a greater weight, more authority than your own paraphrase would have. And when you want to draw attention to the author's opinion, that means that this may not be your opinion. So you want to quote the author's opinion and give that author full credit for something you may not completely agree with. Okay, is that clear? All right. Okay, paraphrasing is a valuable skill. Paraphrasing helps you control the temptation to quote too much. And so if you're writing your paper and you say, well, I've got more than 10% of my paper is quotations, that means you're giving into that temptation. You said,